straight over some food. Makes me happy. So yes, welcome to this week's video. As you saw earlier on in the week, I have a new fish. Love it. Happy days. Settled in alright. Straight over for food. And as I said on when I let the fish loose in the pond, that last year's Gimrin Kiyetsuri was, I think, purchased around about the same sort of size, and you can clearly see that that is definitely put a little bit of size on, a bit of body and a little bit of length, which is good. There is that little bit of worry though. I've had no real issues for a while, thank God, touch wood and all that, but buying a fish, stress of travelling home, not that it's too far, but it's still being bagged up, netted, bagged up, brought home, put in a different pond, and temperature around about the same. I'm at 20. I think there was a bit more down there, but not a lot you can do about that because it's in the polytunnels and they are absolutely roasting down there at the minute. But yeah, just that worry that it settles in alright and doesn't bring any issues to my pond. But not a lot you can do with that. If you want to add a fish, you're going to have to run the risk. That seems happy enough. So the Chubs the Chag, we had the issue last week with its head. I don't know whether it was some kind of sunburn or related to sun or heat or something like that. I mean, the pond temperature is pretty stable now, as you know, the long running saga of fitting a heater. When would you see this? Saturday. So this week, or last week, or the week before last, it was sort of, the temperatures were crazy, weren't they, in the UK? 24 plus most days, absolutely too hot. Then we actually had 3 or 4 days of rain, cold, horrible. We've had hail here, Nottinghamshire and Lincolnshire border. Also, morning temperatures have been sort of single digits. It's been unbelievable. At work the other morning, till about 9 o'clock, it was 10 degrees. When I got in the van first thing in the morning, it was 9 degrees. That practically felt like winter. So not happy, but the heat has kept me at 19 degrees in the pond here. It has been on a lot, obviously, to do that because I've got no cover on it. So when we do have cold days, it is on a bit more. There's going to be a lot of people ask, I know, how much it costs to heat a pond. Now, there are absolutely millions of variables involved. I can only give you what it costs me to heat my pond in my circumstances with my air temperatures, because obviously I've got an air source heat pump. So it might not be the same for everyone and everywhere within the UK. I can only give you a rough guide, but my gas and electricity every day to run the house is anywhere around about £3.50 a day for everything without the heater. So that the house, the pond as it is without a heater, plug-in stuff in the house, and you know, gas, it's a lot less at the minute because we haven't got the heating on, no one's having baths, everyone's having showers, and that's electric. So I'm going to go on the basis of, as an average cost per day, my gas and electricity is £3.50, so anything above that is going to be to heat the pond because there's nothing else in the house changed. So the day when air temps were down to single figures and through the night, I think that day it cost me about £3 to keep the pond at 19 degrees. Obviously with an air source heat pump, your temperature that you're producing for water going through it is heavily influenced by the air temperature. So actually in winter it will cost me more to run than it will do in the summer because the air ambient temperature is way higher. Whereas if you was to go with gas, it would be cheaper to heat a pond via gas in the winter than it would be an air source heat pump, because you're reliant on that ambient temperature being taken out by the pump to then pass it through and heat the water. Because I decided to heat all year round, I'll have some kind of cost savings within the summer, because I think it's 1.2 kilowatt in, and the COPS, COPS, which is the equation related to your air temperature, and the input kilowatts, and then your external water temperatures are up to, I think, 5.8. So for every 1.2 kilowatts in, I'll be getting just over 6 kilowatts of heat produced going out of it at about, I think, 18 degrees. You can get all of these details actually from, in my case, the Duratec. Just Google it. But that's how air source heat pumps work. They take the heat out of the air and obviously heats the water that way, as opposed to gas would be like a flame within a I think the heat exchanger, which would then heat the water that way. So which is why I made the decision, rather than try and get a gas boiler installed, to then actually get an air source heat pump, because I'm heating all year. I'll save in the summer because of the warmer air temps. It will cost me a little bit more in the winter, so I presume overall the actual cost of heating a pond for 12 months of the year will be very similar, depending on the air temps. Obviously, if we have a long, hard, cold winter, it will cost me a lot more to heat it, or to keep it ticking over at whatever temperature I decide. Anyway, completely off at a tangent. So yeah, there we go. So I'm glad the fish have settled in alright. I'm not glad, because we bowled a few fish, I'm now thinking I need a shower. But I don't know, I'm still debating about it. I'm still debating doing the classic, putting it in my shopping basket, thinking about it for an hour or two, forgetting about it, then going back to my shopping basket, adding it again. Hey ho, we'll see. Anyway, right, that's it for the time being. I'll catch you in a bit. Bye. Good evening on this magnificent Sunday time. It's been absolutely awful today, but it's not too bad now. Bit of blue sky, look. Went out my bike earlier, 70 miles ish, 3.5 hours of absolute torrential carnage rain. Anyway, you're not here for cycling stuff, you're here for fish. So now, while we're here, Chubs head completely cleared up now, as in you wouldn't even know that it was a bit mottledy and horribly and just a bit weird. Although she's got some weird kind of pimple thing on her front pec there. I'm going to do nothing with it, I'm just going to keep an eye on it. God knows what that's about. So yeah, I think this week I'm not actually planning on doing any kind of fiddling with anything or fixing anything, or I'm just going to enjoy the pond this week. Well, I say enjoy the pond, but you know, just have a week of chucking food in. Now, last few days it's been absolutely freezing, so I'm going to put a quick slide up in a minute, check the temperature yesterday morning. What sort of June is this? 7 degrees? Are you kidding? Yeah, it was absolutely Baltic yesterday morning. Pretty well. The morning was that temperature. The rest of the day it was absolutely horrible. We actually contemplated putting the heating on in the house. Anyway, so well, we don't heat the house now, we heat the pond because we can't afford to heat the house. So the as you know, the heat's been up and running now for 2 weeks, nearly week and a half. I'm currently holding 19 degrees, or it's dropped down to 8.5, but trying to hold 19 degrees. Now I did have it up to 20 degrees, but because the weather has been absolutely junk these last few days, been watching my house electric smart meter thing ticking up and ticking up. So I turned it down a little. I actually turned it down to about 18, and then I've notched it back up to 19. It's not been so bad, even though it's been horrible and rainy today and a bit chilly. It's not been anywhere near as cold as the last few days, so knocked it up a bit again. So yeah, it's been a bit weird, obviously, with the first few, well, less than 2 weeks, the first 10 days of having a heated pond, but the weather has been awful. So I probably went in a bit gung-ho to start with about getting it up to 20 odd degrees. I think I'm going to play it that I tweak the heater slightly depending on where we're going to be at with the actual ambient temperature. So I don't really want to hold, say, 21 degrees if we're getting single digit figures of temperature like we have been getting, because it's just going to cost way too much to heat. Although it would be nice, obviously there is a major cost involved. The other option would be to get the covers out on the pond for a temporary kind of keep some of the colder air off in the evening, but I can't be. I don't want to be bothered with getting them in and out every evening to put on to take the wind chill or just any kind of breeze off the top of the pond. So that's not going to be happening. I'm just going to be mindful of where the weather is going to be at, and then adjust the heat pump accordingly over the course. I mean, if I want to drop it a few degrees, I'm going to have to sort of plan ahead for that. I'm not just going to be able to say, oh, tomorrow it's cold, I'm going to turn it down. It's too late then, or maybe knock it down a degree, because the other day, might have even been yesterday, Saturday, it was actually on for probably 6 or 7 hours in the day, just trying to hold 19 degrees, because the wind was obviously howling in, and we had some of that crazy wind here again yesterday that we had about a month or so ago. So that's sort of the plan short term with it. I'm not going to try and, if I heat it too high, I might as well just be chucking even more money away, because I'm going to be losing the heat through obviously pond surface. I've got exposed pipes as well. I need to get that lid sorted there. So I've got some spare lagging from a couple of years back. Was it last winter just gone? I don't know when I bought the stuff. Last year it might have been 2019, to do some pipe work in here, and I've got some of that spare, so I'm going to dig that out of the garage, get that on the pipe work that I've got out, and then see what else I then need to order. So yeah, I know it's going to be a bit of a learning curve, probably going to be an expensive one this next sort of 12 months, but not a lot I can do. Although I have heated a pond before, I only used it for I don't know how many months, probably 8 or 9 months, and I didn't try and be stupid with it. I'm probably going to try and be a little bit more silly with this, as in hotter water temperature for a lot longer in the year if possible. Don't know why. Probably want to see if I can push the fish a little bit harder and see what we can do with the fish, and get some bodies on them really. I'm jealous of everyone that I see that's got a heated pond with fish, big bodied fish. I want some of that now, but we'll see. I probably won't be saying that once my electric bill, and I've been paying that regularly every month, and then it's costing a small fortune, but at the minute that's where my mind is. New fish, settled in really well. It's a greedy one. It's not bothered, it's not shy about coming up for some food and having a bit of a bash with the others, look. Which is good. No flashing, no flicking, no sulking, none of that. Settled in really well. Happy with that. And Frank, I don't know if you're going to get that. Unbelievable. Completely cleared up now. You wouldn't even know it went a little bit mucky. So can't sign a postcard for that one really. Not that I'm bothered, it's cleared up. because I don't know the exact reason as to why it did that. It just did it, whether it knocked it. There's some good suggestions in there, whether it was from the PP treatment I did a couple of weeks back and I just hadn't noticed it, whether it's knocked it. I mean, there has been an attempt at a few of them, obviously that's a male fish, Frank, an attempt at some spawning. Now I've got a little bit of froth on the water, so whether or not he's knocked himself on something within the pond, maybe the skimmer plate, because that sticks out a bit, or just knocked it on the pond wall, I don't know, but completely healed up, and he's back to his normal self now, straight over for food. Even the little few red scales he had on the back of his head here, they've all disappeared now. Well, nearly. Very slight mark there. I mean, the only concern now is, because I'm at 19 degrees, am I feeding him enough? Am I feeding him enough? I'm putting in, there's going to be some people shoot me down now, a lot more food than I was before. They're getting about 250, 300 grams a day at the minute, and they are still absolutely, when I walk up to the pond, ravenous. I mean, obviously the 3 Chags will just eat 24/7, but even now this kahaku is absolutely all over any food that goes in. I'm not mad about that, but the water quality hasn't suffered. The water parameter checks are okay. So, like I talked about last week, getting a auto feeder. I've been doing a bit more research. There's quite a few out there. The one I like, it's 300 odd quid. So whether or not I want to stress that price, a lot of money. But if I want to do more regular feeding, it's probably the way forward is to get an auto feeder. But I just can't believe how much more food I've been putting in, and there's been no effect on the water parameters or my water clarity, and the fish are still absolutely hanging for more food, and I've doubled what I would normally feed in the space of less than 2 weeks. So yeah, strange one really. I mean, talking about the food, as I say, you can see the fish don't care. They'll eat anything that's like, I think. I've never really had, not that I can think of, any issues with them not wanting to eat any type of koi food. Tried a few over the years. The only downside I can see at the minute, food, is the water's got a slight hint, sort of browny colour to it. I know I'm putting a lot in, but it's not quite crystal clear. Probably, I don't know whether you can make out looking at the bubbles, there's a very slight hint of browny kind of, I don't know. I mean, when the fish are up high, it's fine, like the white on the kahaku there. I mean, and the shiro's not quite as bright white anymore. Whether or not that'll be from the food or anything else, I don't know, but yeah. So that could be the only negative from me at the moment. It's just the clarity, the slight tinge of brown in the water. But other than that, the fish, as I say, they're destroying it. And it's been good to have, even though it's been cold, I haven't dropped, other than the 1 degree of me changing the heater down. I've had no loss of pond temperature, and definitely the fish have massively benefited from that. Obviously it's cost me, it's probably cost at the minute when we've had single digits in the morning. We haven't had frost, but it's been cold overnight, extra on me electricity, £3 to £4 a day, so over the course of a week probably 20 quid extra just to keep it at sort of between 18 19 degrees, because I did knock it down a bit and then knock it back up. So yeah, obviously I'll get me, when the ambient temperatures are hotter, it won't be quite as much, and I probably won't be heating, the heater won't be on as much, but because I'll be getting better cops out of the out of the heater. But whether or not there's a placebo, I can definitely see an improvement in the smaller Kahaku from Adam Bayer, and the little Chiba as well looks to be getting a little bit of extra size on. So other than that, at the minute, ticking over okay. Hence not really wanting to change anything major at the minute, or there's a couple of other bits I need to do. I'm just going to have a bit of a week off from butchering stuff. Stressful weekend just gone. Don't laugh. But the electricity issue that I had a few weeks back, found out now it wasn't actually the outside cables, even though I needed to change them because they were split and ruined. But it wasn't that causing the house to trip. Absolute joke. So got up the other morning, Saturday morning, last weekend, when the last week's video went out. House had tripped, flicked it back on, went back to bed. An hour later, got up at about 8 o'clock. House had tripped again. Thought what the hell was going on here, and obviously I'd changed the wire on the outside, which is what I thought it was. Further investigation, went downstairs and thought, okay, flicked it back on. Everything was fine for 20 minutes or whatever. I'd wander around looking at everything plugged in and whatever, in case it was something that would burn, or a plug socket that had some marks on it that could have given me any kind of clue. Then opened the dishwasher to empty it. It was still water in there, and it hadn't run the full clean cycle in the night. We always put it on when we go to bed. So I was like, right, on off switch, nothing. I was like, great. Well, that's the problem. Dishwasher. So straight on to Curry's or wherever it was, ordered a new dishwasher. That came yesterday, Saturday, when you saw last week's video. Dragged the old dishwasher out, gave it to a neighbour who does a bit of scrap metal stuff, and he's got a bit of a junk pile in his garden, and every couple of months he gets rid of it all and sells it all off. Just took that round there, dumped that on there. New dishwasher came in. Spent an absolute age fitting the new one because it's not exactly the same size, because why would it be? Very tight fit, but got it in, got it all fettled with the feet, plugged it in, nothing. It was like, what? Nothing. The dishwasher didn't work, so I'm like, great. So took the front off the plug socket where the dishwasher plugs into, and actually one of the wires wasn't connected correctly within the box. So yeah, you guessed it, actually the dishwasher that they just gave my neighbour to skip, which was about 300 odd quid a few years back, it's probably alright. That's now sitting in his garden ruined because of the rain. And the new dishwasher we didn't actually need, so we wasted a few hundred quid on that. Absolute scenes. I was having a meltdown, obviously, as you can imagine, but hey ho. And it caused all that carnage a few weeks back of me changing the outside cables, but it needed doing. So absolute mad. I'm sure you can all imagine how much I was going loopy about it, because there was part of me thinking there was something wrong with the pond, whether or not it was something over here tripping the house, but no, it was actually the dishwasher plug. Ridiculous. Anyway, so yeah, that's it for the time being. I'm going to go in, because otherwise I'm just going to give them more food, because this is all I'm getting. Look at them. It's just absolute scenes at the minute with the amount of food they want. Even the new one, it's learnt to beg. Food, 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 food. Anyway, right, I'm going inside to get a cup of tea. Catch you all later. Afternoon. This is funny. So I've just got in from work, fed the fish, just have a look at everything. Can you hear that noise? So the heat pump's on. Something's vibrating. I've started taking these plant things off, holding the fence. Just comes back, went over the other side, moved all the pipe work. I found it. Ready? It's a loose slat. Noise? No noise. Noise? No noise. So I'm just going to sit here and hold this until the pump turns off. No, I need to wedge something else, screw it in. drive me mad. Look, it's literally just. Anyway, at least I found the reason for that. So little things. Can't believe no one's moaned about it in the house because you can hear it from inside. You probably can't even hear me talking right about now because it's so goddamn noisy. Anyway, where does this go? Somewhere there. God, there's another vibrate. Stop now, look. Need to find a little bit of wood, slither of wood to slide in there. That might do it, look. Yeah, that'll do it. I'm going to snap a bit of that off and wedge that in there. Crazy. Right, anyway. Normal, near, quiet, silent operation. Still on. You can hear the buzzing and whirring, but no stupid vibration from the fence. Anyway. So just add a load of food. Absolutely nuts for it at the minute. See, I'm sort of feeding in sort of 50 gram amounts at the minute, and they're just absolutely destroying it in a matter of minutes. So I need to probably try and work out how much I should be feeding based on fish size, weight and all that junk. I remember reading something somewhere online from, I don't know, one of the food manufacturers. So I might see if I can dig something out just to try and work out how much recommended I should be giving them. But as I say, at the minute I could just be piling it in, especially the Chags, and they'll just be absolutely destroying it. See, so they've just add 50 grams, there's another 50 here. But literally just want to eat. Notice that one eats a bit sideways sometimes. Anyway, I've noticed there's been a little bit of shenanigans again the last day or two, and this Chag, Chubs the Chag, she's got a few bruises and scrapes on the side of her, and I noticed a couple of the males, that one definitely male, and the big Chag giving her a bit of a hard time. So whether or not she's just grazed herself along the side, the same with these little war wounds on her nose and eye then. So I suppose it's inevitable, isn't it, that they're going to try and spawn the females. I haven't seen any full-on action, it's just been a hint of it. A little bit of chasing and then sort of done with it, and then like this morning there was a little bit of chasing, then a little bit of knocking on the side, a bit more chasing, and then they sort of weren't really interested. I don't try and force a spawning, I don't put anything in the pond, spawning ropes, mop heads or any of that junk. I just leave it as is, good or bad I don't know, but I've never had any issues from that. That's just the way I've done it. I know some people like to make sure their fish spawn. If they do, they do. If it doesn't go crazy, I think last year or the year before, can't remember, a few years back I had a messy week of it, but I can't remember the last time recently that any kind of action in the pond water. Anyway, that was it, just to show you about me vibrating fence, which is now fixed. Welcome to an absolutely miserable Nottinghamshire. Anyway, so still piling the food in. Fish are still absolutely nuts. They're not abiding to the, some should be going down, some should be going up rule now. Idiotic fish. They are now, look, after they smashed each other to pieces on the top. Anyway, so yeah, not a massive amount going on this week, really. It's been quite refreshing to not have a major project on the go. There's a few things I do need to sort this weekend. I want to get all over there sorted, which is an absolute pigsty, and get all of that platform put back up. I keep saying it as well, I'm absolutely rubbish. I need to order the tongue and groove to change this because it's battered, and get over there sorted. In fact, I might try and do that tonight, so I'll have something to do next week. And I need to insulate my pipe work. I've just been off it this week, just so much on with the pond this last few weeks, in fact. So just having a week of enjoying it for what it is, fish, and just watching the fish and feeding the fish. So something else I'm liking to do probably this weekend is the virtual Chatakoi photo show. I think I'm going to enter that. Sort of a bit of a kick up the rear as well, because I do want to get each fish out and give it a measure to see how well they do this year with having a heated pond and me piling the food in. I don't normally do that. I normally just get them out as and when, if there's an issue, and then get a bit of a measure and have a look at them in a bit more detail then. But I want to get every fish out. I want to get this exact size, get it in a bowl and capture that all, get them all back, and then as I say, two birds one stone. I'm going to enter a few fish into the Chatakoi virtual show. I'll put a link for that down below in case anyone else is interested in doing that. But yeah, a few people I know always enter it. It's always a bit of a giggle, and prizes as if it was a koi show and all that jazz. So yeah, give it a go. Not expecting to win a prize and stuff. I'm just, you know, supporting the koi hobby, as it were. There's no national this year. That's the only one that I would go to, but everything's been cancelled, isn't it? So, you know, just a bit of diverse fun for me. And that's it for this week. As I say, pretty chilled out week pond wise, but a few projects on the go next week and a few things to sort, but can't stop looking at showers either. I'll just add that in there. Thanks for the response from everybody for Wednesday's little top-up video midweek. Seems everyone liked it. A brilliant afternoon, and always good when you're going to select a fish. That's all done now. Fish is in, I'm happy, fish is happy. Just need a shower. More shower. Need red, white and black. Anyway, I'm rambling on, talking about nothing, filling in for what for, I do not know. So yeah, that's it for this week. Thanks for watching, thanks for your support. It's always gratefully received, and if you like what you see, make the effort, push the thumbs up. It will be fantastic if you do that, or even hit the subscribe button, so I'm getting way more views than subscribers. So I'd like to see if I can touch the 4,000 within the next sort of 6-7 weeks. That would be absolutely amazing. So if you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button, and the thumbs up button if you're liking the videos. That would be great as well. Anyway, that's it for this week. I'll catch you next week, when I'll probably having a moan and a tantrum about a project or two going on. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye bye.